Greetings, friends! Sadly, it's that time of year. It's time for our last plantings of the season. It's kind of hard to think about that, but it is. But overall, I would consider this year a successful year for us here on the homestead. With all of our plantings that have gone on before this, we've had a great year. We've been blessed with tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, cucumbers, eggplant. A lot of these that I just mentioned, they have done better for us than they've ever done before. And even watermelon, which we have never been able to grow successfully, this year we have. And we're still harvesting watermelons here and there. So it is really neat to see the different things. One thing that didn't do well for us this year has been squash. Our squash has just been squash. It's not doing well for us. So is there something that hasn't been doing well for you? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd like to know. And you can also mention some of the things that have gone really well for you. We've also done strawberries really well this year. Leeks, I've never grown leeks before, and man, they are doing well. And there's just been other things like beets and radishes that we've grown too. So overall, I would consider this a successful and blessed growing season that we've had. Well, now it's the last of our plantings. So we're going to be planting today here in the greenhouse. So we still have our strawberry plants in here, as well as some more leeks, and our tomato plants, which we're just seeing if we can get any more out of them. But we do have some open space that we're going to be utilizing. Recently we pulled out, Lacie and Sarah pulled out the cucumbers here, and we're going to be planting in those. We're going to be doing some root crops in there. And we have a row open here on this side of our tomato plants and beside our strawberry plants, so we're also going to be doing some root crops. And then on this side as well, where we had cucumber plants that we pulled out, and we're going to be putting some root crops in there. So pretty excited about that. And another neat thing about all the produce we've been harvesting this year that I'm thankful for is we've been able to not only eat it fresh, but we've also been able to preserve some, as well as share it with others, as well as share it with our animals. Right there. Seeing our animals just being able to enjoy our produce is really neat as well. Like seeing the goats eat the cucumbers and seeing the chickens enjoy things from the garden. And in return, they're producing more eggs than they ever have. And so much so that we've actually had the challenge of not knowing what to do with all of our eggs. We sell some to our CSA customers and we use some, and we've been giving some away, and even our dogs have been enjoying our eggs. Just the other morning, Sarah and I were up cooking eggs, a whole bunch of eggs. It looks like we're getting ready to feed an army, but we were just cooking eggs to provide for our dogs. So even they have been able to enjoy the fruits of everything that is being produced out here. Alright, so we got our furrows ready. And one of the things that is making this last planting a little more emotional, not that I'm getting all teary-eyed and crying about it or anything, maybe I should say even more meaningful, is that next year, next growing season, I will be observing here on our homestead and for our garden the land Sabbath. And the land Sabbath, it says 6 years you shall sow your land, work your soil, work your land, but the 7th year you shall let it rest as a benefit to the poor, a benefit to the animals, and as a benefit to the soil. One of the things I learned from Greg Judy is that with certain types of plants, weeds, when they are able to grow and their root system is able to get down there and break through that hard pan, that they're actually able to bring up more minerals and more nutrients for your plants. So letting my garden areas rest next year, it'll be pretty interesting to see what all new things that improves the soil that is brought up from those things growing. There's still things, a lot that I have to learn in actually applying and learning how to do it, because this will be my first year keeping the land Sabbath. I've never done it before. So we've been here 7 years now. In that first year we really didn't grow much, so we let the land mostly rest then. And then now for these past 6 years we've been working the land, growing it and doing different things. And now that we're on the 7th year of that cycle, it's time to let our garden area rest. And it actually says that a great understanding have those who do his commandments. So it's not until you actually do them that you really understand fully the benefit of why you should do what it says or what he says to do. Well, now that we have our furrows done, next we'll go ahead and let's put some seeds in there. So with keeping the land Sabbath, I pretty much can understand and I have a good idea what to do in our main garden. Still don't completely know how we're going to do it in the greenhouse, so we're just going to have to figure things out along the way. And if any of you guys have ever kept the land Sabbath and you have any ideas, please let me know in the comment section below. I know historically some have not grown anything for their fall vegetables, but it does say 6 years. It doesn't say 5.5, it says 6. So we're going to make sure that we maximize with this last planting, growing the things that we can, because according to the Bible and this God's sacred calendar, the year begins, it's aligned up with the actual seasons, the seasons of creation, and the year begins in the spring, which makes sense. Everything sprouts to new life, new year, that should be when things start. So we won't be growing anything come springtime. Alright, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do carrots right here in this one. So we're going to do some Viper carrots here, as well as some of these Uzbek Golden from Uzbekistan carrots. Those look pretty neat and look pretty yummy. And then over on this bed over here, we're going to do some radishes. Alright, so I think I made my furrows a little bit too deep here. With carrots, you don't want to go real deep with sowing your seed. You really want it to be shallow and on the surface. So as I'm sowing these seeds here, I'm gonna have to make sure I keep them more on the surface. Alright, so that's done. So I did disturb a riding spider here. He's just dancing all over the place here on this web. I didn't mean to do it, because those are beneficial spiders to have around. So they do a good job of working on pest control here. We got a number of them here in this greenhouse as well as up at the high tunnel. But that on here, one of the things that I think I need to do next is harvest this mint. Check it out. I haven't harvested any in quite some time, as you can tell. So I'm gonna harvest some, and I think we'll just go ahead and dehydrate it, so that way we can use it for tea or whatever else later on. Minty. We'll start with that. Alright, so after a couple hours, our mint is dehydrated and ready to go. So put it in the jar here, and we still have a lot more things to dehydrate, to ferment, to can around here, because we've been blessed with produce this year, but we have to do our part too. We did our part to sow the seeds and harvest the things, but we also have to do our part in preserving them, so that way we can extend the season. Because he does say in the 6th year he would bless you, and we have been pretty blessed with produce this year, so very thankful. But once again, we still have to do our part. So what do you think about this being going into our last plantings of the season? How does that feel? But think about that.
Well, one thing, I'm really curious to see how this goes with the next year. So there's curiosity there, and then there's also, you know, there's always plans for the future, and you plan to do this for next year, and that's kind of not there. But I don't know, it's just like I'm in between, like excited and a little sad, I guess.
A little scary too.
Yeah, it is. It can be, you know. And look on years past, and people that really did the land Sabbath, that would have to be a little apprehensive. Like, you have to really trust in God and really trust what his word says, that he'll take care of you to do that. Because, you know, looking at it from the worldly view, looking in, they'll say, you're crazy, how are you going to eat for the next year? But, you know, putting your trust in God, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, people have said that, and they've even said with us running a market garden, what are you going to do? Well, we've so far, as he said, he's blessed us in so many different ways. And I'm not concerned about that. If I'm doing what we're supposed to do, the blessings will come.
Yeah.
You know, challenges will come here and there too, but the blessings do come. And I must admit that I really enjoy working out in the garden. I really enjoy sowing the seeds as I was doing in the greenhouse, and I will miss that. However, I will also really enjoy the rest of having to take some time off from having to do that, and I can focus those energies on other things. I can spend more energy working on our systems with the animals. I can maybe even go visit and help other farms out. So I can apply those energies, not just focused on us, but also extend those energies to others. So I'm looking forward to that part of it.
And not only is it a land Sabbath, I mean, every week, you know, God says work 6 days and you rest, and we're to worship God and assemble on that day, but it's also a day of rest. Like, you don't have to work 7 days a week. God wants us to rest. He wants the land to have a rest, but with the land having a rest, the farmer gets to have a rest too. And, you know, it's all about replenishing ourselves and the soil and everything.
And let me tell you, this farmer appreciates that 1 day of rest that I get to have each week, because when you're working hard, and I am one, I really enjoy working hard, but sometimes your body is like saying stop, even though your mind wants to keep going. But having that day of just dedicated to rest and recovery is really, really beneficial. So for mentally, physically, and spiritually. So I have gotten requests before about doing a video about how we prepare for the weekly Sabbath, not just the land Sabbath. We're kind of giving you somewhat of an idea about the land Sabbath, but on how we do the weekly Sabbath, preparing for that. So we'll plan to do that in the video to come, and let us know in the comment section below if that's something you'd be interested in, because looking forward to sharing that with you guys, because some of you have expressed that you need help in preparing for that and what you do on your homestead. Well, just stay tuned to see how this journey for us goes here on the homestead with keeping the land Sabbath, and as we continue to go into our last plantings of the season and preserving the harvest.
I'm excited.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.